Good morning, everybody. Gonna wait a few minutes for people to come on. We're going to start. Hi, Annie. Hi, Tasha. I'm going to start the flow in a couple of minutes. I'm going to give you guys just an explanation of what trauma yoga is and what you can expect out of our class this morning. Oh my God. Hi, Sita. It's been so long, Mama. Hi, Dave. I just want to make sure that you can hear me. Okay. Hi, James. I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes so that people can start coming on in. Hi, Megs. Wow. So many fans this morning. And this class will be posted to my feed afterwards. Hi, Megs. Can you hear me okay? I just want to make sure before I start that you can hear me. Okay. We might go ahead and get started. So, trauma-informed yoga. I've gotten a lot of questions about what this even is. Trauma-informed yoga is a yoga practice similar to one that you would find in a yoga studio, but the difference is that it's not a dynamic flow. So I'm not going to be going moving pose to pose with breath like you might normally do in like a vinyasa class, and so what we're going to be doing is it's going to be a little stop and start. There's going to be meditations and moments of stillness and reflection throughout the class. So it might be a little bit of a different way than you're used to experiencing yoga, but I'm really excited to do this. So I guess we'll get started. Okay, so first things first, you are going to come to the top of your mat. So come to just the top of your mat, and we're gonna sit in stillness. I just want to make sure that you guys can see me okay. Okay, so come to sit at the top of your mat. You can cross your legs, you can straighten them, do what feels comfortable. And you're gonna relax your shoulders. So I want you to bring your shoulders up by your ears and then roll them and melt them down your back. You can take whatever breath here feels good. Option to keep your hands on your knees. Option to bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. Doesn't matter. My heart is racing right now because I'm so excited to do this class. Just come to a breath. Part of this yoga practice and part of trauma yoga practice is coming to that awareness of our breath that we don't have in our everyday life. So if you think about it, how often during your day do you notice your breath? How often during your day do you really think about the way that you're inhaling the breath into your body and the way that you're exhaling it out of your body back into the air? And there's a lot of power when we start to recognize that relationship with our breath, because it helps us to get back into our bodies, which any form of yoga, especially trauma-informed yoga for people who have experienced trauma, is the most important way for us to start that healing process. So when we're doing this healing process from trauma, which trauma is something that a lot of people think doesn't happen to them or can't happen to them or wouldn't happen to them, because it's stigmatized and seen as only a few type of people who can get it or who can experience it. And trauma is essentially just a negative effect from your body and your brain by a very big event, and that's all relative to our lives. So I think it's important that we all do trauma work, because in some way or another, many of us, probably more than us that would acknowledge, have been through and experienced traumas. So what we're doing here, by keeping a hand on my belly and by keeping a hand on my heart, what I'm doing is I am connecting to the parts of my body that are at my center. So I'm connecting to my belly's core. So the core of like the strength in my body, I'm connecting to that. And through my hand on my heart, I am bringing that connection and awareness to my heart, to my life source, to what's going to push me through my practice today. And you can always come back to this pose at any point in your practice. There will be times where we will take breaks. 5 more breaths here. And do you notice if from doing this from the beginning, has your heart rate gone down? I know mine has. And at the beginning of every pose, I'll tell you how many breaths we're going to stay here. Okay, so when you're done your 5, bring your knees into your chest, lay down onto your back, hug your knees into your chest. You can roll them side to side, do whatever feels good. That first morning stretch. Okay, when that feels good, plant your feet on the ground below you. Almost like you're going to do sit-ups. So you're going to plant your feet into the mat or into the floor below you. You're going to bring your arms alongside your body. So you want your palms facing the mat so that you can use your palms to press into the mat. And what you're going to do, you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back as much as you can, trying to lift and open your shoulder up towards the ceiling of the sky. So in doing this is our first step. So you're pressing your feet into the mat below you, making sure that you ground your big toes and you ground your heels. So you really want to feel that pressure into the floor beneath you. And you're going to press into all 10 of your fingers into the mat below you. And while you're doing this pressing of your fingers and your toes, you're going to press into your shoulders and lift your hips up. It doesn't have to be high. Whatever you're working with this morning is great. You just have to lift them up. And we're going to stay here for 3 more breaths. Keep going, keep pushing. You got this. Last breath. Come down. Stay here. And then press all 10 of your fingers, all 10 of your toes, and your shoulders back into the mat. Lift your hips up again. This time we're going to stay for 5 more breaths. Yes, you can. Stop telling yourself that you can't do it. Almost there. Just a couple more breaths. Last one. Come on down. Stay here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Press into the mat. Lift up again. And it doesn't have to be that you're lifting your hips so far to the ceiling that you're hurting your back. You just want to lift your hips up off of the mat so much that you can engage your core, you can engage your legs, and you can engage your shoulders and your arms. So if that looks like this here for you right now, that is totally okay. If that looks like it's higher than this for you right now, amazing. Wherever you're at this morning is great. 1 more breath. Come on down. Okay, we're going to do 2 more of that, okay? 2 more, you got this. Lift up and go. For 5 breaths here. Whatever your breath is like. No need to change it or fix it, just breathe. 2 more. Last breath here. Come on down. Okay, 1 more breath. Let it out. Lift and go up. Last time, we're gonna stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come on down. Hug your knees into your chest. You can rock them side to side if that feels good. We're almost done with the ab portion. You guys got this. You're killing it. I hope you can still hear me. Okay, lift your feet up towards the ceiling. What you want to do here is you want to try and flex your toes so that they're facing your nose. So you don't want passive legs here. You want to try and keep engagement in your legs as much as you can. And so from here, you're going to take your hands underneath your lower back. So you want to protect your lower spine so that it doesn't dig into the floor or the mat beneath you, whatever you're working with. And from here, you're just going to lower down about halfway. And you're going to stay here for 3 breaths. 2 more, you got this. Last breath. Back up. Stay here for 3 breaths. 2 more. Last breath. Lower it back down again, halfway. Stay here for 3 more breaths. You got it. Yes, you can. 1 more. Back up. 2 more. Halfway. 3 breaths. 2 more. Last breath. Back up. You got this. Last time. Halfway down. Stay for 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees into your chest. You can rock side to side if that feels good. And then what you're going to do, you're going to lay your feet out on your mat. So you're going to lay your feet down, arms out. Again, always the option to bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. It doesn't matter which one. We're bringing our awareness back to our breath. Bring your awareness to your heartbeat. Can you feel your heartbeat in both of your hands? Bring your awareness to what part of your body is touching your mat. So melting your shoulders. Melting where your hip bones are touching the mat. Melting where the back of your legs, the parts of your feet that are touching the mat. 3 more breaths. Okay, when you're done your 3, come back to sit and press into downward facing dog. Hi everybody. If you're just coming in, we're meeting in downward facing dog. So we always have options in our down dog here. You always have the option to bend your arms a little bit more or come to dolphin, which would be onto your forearms. Or you have the option to bend in your knees as much as you need to. There is an option to put your hands on a chair or your hands on books or blocks if that feels good. In your downward facing, feel and really notice the connection between your fingers onto the mat, onto the floor. Try and press every single finger into the mat. Press every single toe into the mat as well. Feel that connection in your feet. Maybe it feels good to bend one knee and the other. Maybe it feels good to just stay. But we're going to be here for 5 more breaths. Keep going. always the option to come down to your knee if this is uncomfortable. When you're done your 5, walk back up to your fingers. So you're gonna stay sort of folded forward. And now what you're gonna do, you're gonna lift halfway. Always the option to keep your hands on your thighs or your shins to help keep you there. But what you don't wanna do is you're not using your hands to hold you up. So what's holding you up is squeezing your belly button towards your spine and drawing your shoulder blades together on your back. So my arms are not what's holding me up right now, it's my core. So in this part of in this pose, you really want it to be your core that's lifting you up and your shoulders. 3 more breaths, you got this. 2 more. Last breath. Fold forward. Bend in your knees as much as you need to in your forward fold. We're gonna do that for 2 more times. So lift halfway, and it might help to press into all 10 of your toes. So what I like to do to feel the ground better is I like to lift my toes up so I can feel the big toe mounds of my feet pressing into the mat, pressing into the floor beneath my feet, and I'm not locking out my knees. So when I do that, it pulls in my hamstrings, and that's not something that we want to do. We want to make sure that we're protecting our body in this practice. We don't want to create an injury for ourselves. So you're going to bring a little bend, a little water into your knees as you lift up. And it might get a little bit harder, that's okay. We're going to stay for 3 more breaths. 2 more, you got this. Last breath here. Fold forward. Bend in your knees as much as you need to. Maybe you need to shake out your legs, pedal your knees one way or the other. Last time, go up halfway. Hold it. This time we're going to stay for 5 breaths. And every time your brain or the stories that are coming up in your head are telling you that you can't do this, come back to your breath, come back to what your body's doing. So think of one point of your body and keep that focus there. 1 more breath. Fold forward. Shake it out. Okay, keep your feet where they are. Lift up. And we're gonna take our arms up towards the sky. So keep your arms facing the sky here. Grab onto your left wrist with your right hand, reach it up, and then fold over. Doesn't matter how far you go. We just want to give a nice twist in our side body to counter what we just did. So stay here for 3 more breaths. 2 more. Last breath here. Back to center. This time, grab onto your right wrist with your left hand. Pull it over to the left side. And you might be doing an opposite side of me, that's okay. Whatever side you're on is great. You just want to give a nice stretch to counterbalance all the ab work that we've just done. Okay, back to center. Reach your arms all the way up and fold forward. From here, you're going to step back into your downward facing dog, and we're going to stay here for 3 breaths. 2 more, you got this. Bend in your knees as much as you need to. Okay, when you're done your 5, you're going to step your right foot through. Keep your left toes where they are. They're going to be up in a crescent lunge. And from here, you're just going to reach your arms up. So the main thing about this pose, it's not necessarily how long your stance is, but you want your stance long enough so that when you bend your knee, It's not over your ankle like that. You want to make sure that your knee stops at a 90 degree with your ankle. It doesn't go further than that. So if you're like this, that's okay. Wherever you're at, and you're onto the ball of your left foot. So you're up on your toes. This might feel uncomfortable if you sit in a chair all day, or even if you're working on your feet all day. It's that stretch in your back foot that we don't normally get. 3 more breaths here, you got it. 2 more. Always the option to bend your shoulder or bend your elbows. Okay, stay with me. What you're gonna do, step your left foot to meet your right. We're gonna stand at the top. Easy peasy. Now, from here, relax your shoulders. Stay here for 3 more breaths. So this yoga practice is different than what you might be used to because it's very stop and start. And the reason for that is we want to give our body the time to come down from that fight or flight so that we can learn in our bodies and understand how to come back to that full relaxation mode. Even though I'm relaxed right now, I'm sweating. I can still feel my heart racing. We're still doing strong practice work. It's just different than a vinyasa flow. Okay, and all you're gonna do from here is you're gonna step your right foot back into your crescent lunge. So see if you can do that. See if you can just step into it. If you wobble, if you come on out, if it doesn't look perfect, that's okay. This practice isn't about what the poses look like. This practice is about what the poses feel like in your body and how it ends, how you leave your mat feeling afterwards. That's what this practice is about. Always the option to bend in your elbows, keep your arms here. Stay for 3 more breaths, you got it. And see if you can lift your heel on your right foot just a little higher. If that's too uncomfortable, you can bring it back down. Do what you need to do, feel what you need to feel, and kind of just have fun with where can you take your practice. Okay, step it back to the front, release it out. Okay, reach up, rise up, fold forward, step back, downward facing. Stay here in your downward facing dog for 3 breaths. If you're just joining us, welcome. We're in downward facing dog. Okay, when you're done your 3 breaths, again, step your right foot forward. But what you're gonna do now is you're gonna plant your left foot onto the mat. And you wanna plant it so that it's on a 45 degree. And I just had to move my foot out because it wasn't comfortable for me. So, same thing in this pose. It doesn't matter about how long your stance is or how wide your feet are apart. What matters is that your right foot in this case, because our right foot is forward, is facing forward. So we want that right foot facing forward, and same thing about the bend in our knee. We don't want our knee to be like this over our ankle. You want your knee to be up until that point of that right angle between your knee and your ankle, because otherwise we don't want to create injury. So we want it to be here or less, not here or more. So if you find that your knee is going past your ankle, bring it back, dial it back. It might feel like you doing that is making it more challenging, and it is, but it's also making it more dangerous. And we want to make sure that our bodies stay safe. Okay, and our left foot is on a 45. And I don't know if you can really tell because I'm kind of on an angle, but my feet are not directly in line with one another. I have my feet a little bit farther apart, and that's okay because I experience some knee pain from past sports injuries in my left knee. So I don't want too much pressure in this back knee. And I'm not locking this straight knee out. There's still a little bend in this knee. So I want to keep my chest and my hips forward as much as possible, so you can see that I'm adjusting as I'm twisting forward. And feel free to do that too. If it doesn't feel comfortable, take a step forward. If it doesn't feel comfortable, move your foot to where it feels comfortable. This practice isn't about making you suffer, and this practice isn't about making yourself suffer. You want to relax. Your body is putting forth all of the effort, all of the power to be in this pose. Your body's just doing that naturally. By you standing in this pose, your body is already putting forth the effort. So you don't need to make yourself suffer in it by making it harder. All we need to do is breathe for 5 more. Keep going, you got this. 3 more breaths, you got this. Last 2. Last breath. Stay with me. Step your left foot to meet your right. And shake that out. Shake it out. Shake it out. Get rid of that side. So now what we're gonna do, can you step back into the other side? So remember, all you're doing is you're stepping your right foot back so that it's sort of on a 45-degree angle, and you're just bending in your left knee. You're not locking out your right knee, you're keeping water in that knee. You're gonna reach your arms up towards the ceiling. So you want your palms facing one another, like you're holding onto a ball, but you're gonna just reach your arms up. If this doesn't feel comfortable, always the option to bend in your elbows if you're having troubles with your shoulder mobility. And I kept you guys here longer last time, so I might keep you here a little longer this time. And remember when we were in our halfway lift and I said what I do sometimes to help myself ground into the pose wherever I'm at is to lift up my toes. So if that's going to help you in this practice, in any pose you're in, you can lift up your toes to really ignite that pressing into your mat, because you can really feel your big toe mounds when you do that. And for me, it just kind of helps me to stay in the pose a little bit longer. All right, I'll only keep you here for 3 more breaths. You got this. Dig in. Last one. Step your right foot to meet your left. Shake it out. Shake it all out. And then come to stillness at the top of your mat. So you want your feet hip distance, one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. And breathe. Everyone do that. Take a big breath in. Open your mouth, let it out. Relax your shoulders. Relax in your knees. Come back to that awareness of your breath. Come back to that awareness of what parts of your body are touching your mat. Come back to stillness. Stay here for a few more breaths. Stay, don't move. Just gonna come check the time. Hi, everybody. Stay for 3 more breaths here. 2 more. Last one. Okay, we're gonna do that again. So you're gonna step your left foot back, warrior 1. And we're gonna move into a different pose here. So get really grounded. So this is your second round doing it. So let go of what you just did. What you just did no longer matters. All that matters is that you're in this pose again, right here, right now. And while your body's putting forth the effort to be in this pose naturally, how can you stay in this pose in ease? How can you, in your mind, make it so that you can stay just a little bit longer? How can you tell yourself that you're strong enough? Is that what you need to do? Okay, now what you're gonna do, you're gonna pivot your left foot so that your left foot is parallel with the back edge of your mat. And if you don't have a mat, you are just turning your left foot so that it's on like a 90-degree angle from your right. So you're kind of making like an L in between your feet. And you're gonna sink a little lower if that feels okay in your right leg. And same thing before in our Warrior One, how we were holding a ball in our hands. You're gonna hold that ball, but all you're gonna do is you're gonna reach your right arm out in front of you, and you're gonna reach your left arm out behind you. So this pose is not about how long your stance is. I don't know if you can really see it in the video, but my back foot is about a foot away from the edge of my mat. And that's because I don't need a super long pose or a long stance in this pose for it to be effective. If your default is to go into the, craziest, most advanced version of any pose, or to challenge yourself so much so that you're overexerting your body, you're overusing the effort that your body naturally is putting in, I challenge you to dial it back. So bring it back to a place that you don't normally go. And the challenge will be for you to stay in that less exaggerated version of the pose. Because any version of the pose is great. Any version that you can get into and stay into and be into, that's yoga. And we want to learn to listen to our bodies and listen to our breath and what it's telling us. We're going to stay here for 3 more breaths. You got this. 2 more. Last one. Okay, hear me out. Relax your arms, straighten your right knee, and you're going to pivot your right foot in towards the same way that your left foot is. And you're just going to stay here for a minute. You can shake out your hips if that feels okay. If it doesn't, don't do it. This practice is all about listening to your body. So sometimes what I'm saying might not always be what's best for you. If you can bend in one knee to bend in the other, do that. Feel that stretch in your hip flexors. And then come to stillness. And the same thing as we did in our forward folds at the beginning of class, we're going to do that here. So if you have to lower your stance, do that. You want to make sure that you can, with the ease being your mind putting into this pose, that you're not going to overexert yourself. So from here, what I want you to do, palms holding a ball, but you're going to reach them out. So same thing as we just did in our Warrior Two arms. You're just going to reach your palms out. So your palms are facing the floor beneath you. From here, squeeze your belly button to your spine. So before you even fold over, squeeze your belly button to your spine and hug your shoulder blades together. So we've already got that engagement before folding forward. And as you fold forward, keep pressing your palms into the mat. So you want to tilt your hands and tilt your shoulders so that they are facing the mat or the floor beneath you as you're doing it. And we're going to stay here for 5 breaths. Keep going, dig in, you got this. Where can you create the ease in this pose that your body is putting the effort in? Bend in your knees, keep that water in your knees. And in your mind, bring the ease into this pose. 1 more breath. Come to stand. Shake it out, shake it out. Okay, stay with me. Pivot your toes to the front of the mat and just walk up to the front of your mat. Shake it out. You can jump around if that feels good. Okay, hear me out. What we do to one side, we do to the other side. I don't make the rules. Step back into your Warrior One. Just want to make sure you guys can still hear me okay. Okay, So in your warrior one, we've done this already. We've done this a couple of times now. So what have you learned in the other times that we've done this that you can do right now in this pose? And that's not just like a metaphor for how to make this practice easier on yourself, but it's a metaphor for how can you take this into your day-to-day life. Always the option to bend your elbows. How can you take that idea of what did you learn before that you can implement right now, that you can do right now to make this pose easier so that you're not making yourself suffer while we stay in this pose. Okay, hear me out. What you're gonna do, pivot your right toes, your right foot. So if you have a mat, your right foot is now parallel to the back edge with your mat. We're in warrior two. If you don't have a mat, you're creating that L in your legs. Might be harder to see on this side, so I'm sorry guys. And same thing, holding a beach ball or a ball, open your arms up. So your left arm is going out towards the front of the mat and your right arm is going towards the back of your mat. And it doesn't matter what this pose looks like. So if that's where your default is going in all of these poses, get that out of your head. And come into what does your breath feel like? What is your breath doing? And what does this pose feel like? Is your left thigh shaking? Are your arms getting heavy? Do your shoulders hurt from holding your arms up? If that's the case, wiggle out your fingers. Wiggle out your fingers and relax your arms. So no need to create suffering. We can always find ways to make this pose easier on us. 5 more breaths. You can do this. Stop subscribing to the lies that tell you you can't. Stop subscribing to the lies that tell you you're not good enough or that you can't do something. Because you can and you are right here and right now. Three more breaths. You got it. Dig in. Hold on just a little longer. Last breath in. Straighten your leg, release. You already know what's coming from the other side. So how can you make this pose easier for yourself now? I'm just going to tilt a little bit so it's easier to see me. So you pivoted both of your feet in. Walk your feet closer together if you need to. Create that foundation. So every single pose comes from our foundation up. So if we don't have the feet, we don't have the legs, we don't have the core, we don't have the upper body. So no matter what your practice is looking like, whether you're in a chair, whether you're using blocks, whether you're using props, how far wide your feet are or how low you can bend, none of that matters. What matters is that it's building on the foundations of your body, on the mat, on the floor, on the ground. That's it. You're just moving your body different ways that you might not be used to, but that's all we're doing. So if you've been hesitant to do yoga before, that's okay. Know that it's not that serious. Know that it can be fun. Know that you can do what feels good. You don't have to overexert yourself. That isn't the point of this practice. And if that's how you feel, that's okay, but I challenge you to recognize and acknowledge why that is. So, we are feet parallel to one another, little bend in our knees, squeeze your belly button to your spine, squeeze it. So it's like you're pulling all of your abdomen muscles in towards one another and pressing them into your back. And from here, what you're going to do, pinch your shoulder blades together so that it opens your chest. Your shoulders are down your spine. From here, like we're holding onto our ball, arms up and out, and from here is how we fold. And you're just hinging forward at your hips, because when we engage our core, we engage our upper body and our shoulders. All we need to do now is just fold. And go as low as it feels good for you. Keep that engagement in your legs and into your feet. So lift up all 10 of your toes if that feels good. It might help you to feel the ground beneath you just a little bit better. You're going to stay here for 5 breaths. Dig in, hold on, you got this. While your body puts forth the effort, where can you bring the ease in your mind? Where can you tell yourself just a little bit longer? Where can you tell yourself to hold on? 2 more, you got this. Last one. Straighten and step towards the front of your mat. 1 hand on your belly, 1 hand on your heart. Do that again. Take a big breath in. Open your mouth, let it out. Melt your shoulders. So you don't want your shoulders to hover forward. Just gently relax them together and down your spine. Relax your belly now. Relax through your legs. Bend in your knees if you need to. Relax through your hands. You just want your hands resting here. What sensations in your body do you feel? Do you feel the sweat? Do you feel your heartbeat? Maybe do you feel your belly doing some things because it's first thing in the morning and I got you doing all this crazy stuff? What do you feel? Notice that. And maybe that's what you feel emotionally right now. Are you frustrated? Are you tired? Are you happy? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Notice where you're at. And don't make it mean anything other than it's just that. Other than it's just that feeling or that sensation in your body right now. And that's it. And to make it less uncomfortable, all you need to do is breathe. 5 more. And if you're wondering why I get you to do this, this is your power stance. So if you follow me at the Devata Project, there are some IGTVs that I posted at the beginning of quarantine. And I did an exercise where we learned our power stance, and this is this. And the reason why we do this is because in this pose, having our knees bent, hand on our belly, hand on our heart, and our body is relaxing into itself, our mind is relaxing into itself, into our body, bringing awareness to what our sensations are. By doing all of this, we are turning off that fight or flight, and we are coming to relaxation. And it's so important in yoga and in trauma yoga to have this moment, or to have many moments like this, because then in day-to-day life, when shit gets crazy, just come back to this. That's all you need to do. Come back to this. Come back to what feels in your body. Come back to your breath. Come back to maybe what emotions you're feeling, and stay until it feels good. I might have held you for longer than 5 breaths. I'm so sorry. Okay. What you're going to do now, you're going to release. Come to sit on your bum. Lay on your back. And this is going to be the final part of the practice where we get in a good juicy stretch from everything we just did. Keep your knees into your chest. Grab hold of your right knee or your right shin, whatever feels good, and straighten your left leg out onto the mat. So you're going to try and pull your right knee towards your chest as much as you can. You really want to get that good stretch. You want to get that nice counterbalance to all of the warrior ones and warrior twos and all the other stuff I just made you do. You can just rock your knees side to side. If this isn't comfortable to have your left leg straight, always the option to bend that knee and press that foot into the ground. Completely up to you. If you do have the mobility to grab hold of your foot, bring that in. And we're going to come into a thread the needle or a 4 position with our feet. So you're going to keep your right foot where it is, but all you're going to do is you're going to lean the outside of that right ankle onto your left thigh or your left knee. And if this is where you want to stay, great. This is perfect. If you want to take it up a notch while still listening to your body, so if this is where your body needs, please stay here. If you feel like you've got more in your tank, take it somewhere else. Absolutely do that. And what we're going to do for that is you're going to just lift up your left leg. Again, if this is where you need to stay, perfect. Or if you need to take it up just a little bit more, you need a little bit more of a stretch this morning, you're going to grab your hands through and behind your left thigh, and you're just going to hold it there. Option to keep your left leg bent or straighten it, completely up to you. It is always your choice for which options you take in this pose. And know that every single pose you have options. So, but know that in every single pose you have options. So like we did in our Warrior 1, you have the option to lessen your stance. You have the option to straighten your legs a little bit more if that bend is too heavy. You always have the option to bend your arms if it doesn't feel comfortable. In every single pose in this practice, you have options. So when the options are available to you, see them for what they are and take the one that feels the best for your body. Take the one that your body is craving. And we're going to stay here for 3 more breaths. And know that all of the options, none of them are above anyone. So whatever you choose is not better or worse than what someone else would choose. This is yours. And this practice is yours so you get to choose. It's for you. When you're done your 3, release your feet back to the floor. Straighten out that right leg again. Grab onto your left knee or your left shin, hugging that leg into your chest. Maybe squeeze it in as far as you can go. You really want to give the body that good stretch. Rock it side to side if that feels good. Or just stay. Grab hold of your foot, do that always the option, always the choice to bend your right knee and have that foot into the ground. We know where we're going. So from here, we're going to come into that thread the needle or four position with our legs. So all you're going to do is bring your outside of your left ankle, pressing it into your left thigh, or your right thigh, or your right knee. And this is where you want to be today. Great. Stay here and let the pose do what it needs to do. Or option to grab behind your thigh and lift your leg up. Option to straighten your right leg. See what feels good for you. Rock side to side. This always feels good for my hip flexors. Where you should be feeling it right now is on the outside of your left hip flexor. Mine feel really tight, so this is uncomfortable. And when I say this is uncomfortable, is that I can feel the stretch. I'm not feeling any sharp pains right now. I'm just feeling that stretch in my muscles. And if you're feeling any sharp pains, stop. Bring it down. Stay for 5 more reps. Know these hip stretches are tough. You got this. Do this. You want to do what this pose needs to do in our bodies. You want to release what this pose needs to release out of our body. Because what's no longer serving us, we want it gone. We don't want to keep going on with it. Okay, when that feels good, bring your knees back down to the mat. Walk your feet so that they are outside of your mat or like hip distance if you're not on a mat right now. And just bring your knees in towards one another. Bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. Feel the counter stretch to everything you just did. So most stretches and poses have a counter. Something to ease the effort that we just put in. Relax your shoulders into the mat. Stay here for 5 breaths. You know we're getting close to 10. So if you have to go, please do so. But if you can stay, please, I encourage you to stay for this part of the practice. This rest part of the practice is so necessary to everything else we just did, everything else we just built up. If you can stay, please do so. And if it's challenging for you to stay, I encourage you to do so anyways. I encourage you to do so and maybe find something new about the pose, or about this part of the practice that you haven't known before. Okay, we're almost done. Release your knees. Hug your knees back into your chest. Very good. And drop them down to your left side. As far as they can go, and turn your gaze over your right shoulder. You can straighten your right arm or keep it bent. Option to move your left arm bent as well, or just keeping it on your right thigh for a little extra support in your twist. Have a full back towards the center, and now drop them over to the right. And we'll stay here for 5 breaths. Option always to bend your arms or straighten them, or using your right hand on your left thigh for extra support. You do what you need. The options are there. You choose. Back to center. Last time, hug your knees into your chest. And we're going to come into final resting pose. So straighten your legs out onto the mat or the floor, straighten your arms out. You can keep your arms as wide or as close to your body as you need. All you need to do is rest and stay here. You can keep your eyes open, you can close them. Do what feels good and stay. I'm going to come out, but stay here in this pose. Stay here for 10 breaths. This is our final pose. And thank you for taking time out of your morning to come. Five more breaths. Okay. When you're done your 5, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Come up to sit gently at the top of your mat. Come to a comfortable seat, so maybe you cross your legs, maybe you keep them straight. Take your hands to your heart center. Together, take a big breath in. Sigh it out. The divine light in me is so very grateful for the divine light of every single one of you who came out to watch or to practice. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you guys. I'll try to be doing a class like this or a meditation or some sort of a trauma-informed activity every other week, and it'll be on my non-for-profit page, the Devata Project. So check that out. Check out the work that the team is doing, and have a great Saturday. Thank you.